Hey YouTube, Omar here with my first NBA weekly recap of this season, and I've decided just now that I'm just gonna do the whole season so far, which hasn't been much more than a week. I think it's been at least a 2.5 weeks, and I'm gonna do the same with college basketball, except that's only been a weekend. So yeah, I'm gonna do the whole basketball season, and then I'll get into the week by week basis on my in my rest of my videos. So let's get going with my format, of course, that I've developed, and we start with three hot topics, and of course, the hottest topic in the NBA right now, the Los Angeles Lakers, and they have been all season. They lost their first three games. They were 0-3. Everybody was panicking. Something needed to change. They did get a couple wins under Mike Brown. In fact, they finished their Mike Brown era this season, at least, with a 3-4 record. But now Mike Brown is out as Lakers head coach, in case you haven't heard. And in is Mike D'Antoni, a man that used to coach for the Knicks, so I'm very familiar with him. And frankly, I'm in Stephen A. Smith's boat. I don't really think this is the best fit for the Lakers because Mike D'Antoni does not really preach defense, as Stephen A. Smith put it. They're a team that basically, he's a coach that basically preaches defense by virtue of more offense, which makes sense, I guess, a little bit. The more you score, the harder you are to beat. But, you want to preach defense because in any sport, it seems defense can win you a championship. The Heat definitely had great defense last year. The second hot topic is, of course, our hometown New York Knicks. That's right, the only team left in the NBA undefeated. Of course, they've only played 4 games and should have only played 5. We had the Nets on November 1st, which was canceled because of the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, which I kind of disagreed with that canceling, but it's okay because that game's been rescheduled. And since then, the Knicks have gotten off to a raging start, defeating the Heat, the Sixers 2 times, and the good Mavericks team. So things that the Knicks didn't do last year are starting to show a little bit, but we'll get back to that later. And third, my hot topic would be the rookie standouts so far. Of course, Anthony Davis has been as advertised with the Hornets. Although he did suffer that concussion, he seems to be just as much as they would have hoped for in New Orleans. Also, my rookie of the year right now, how about Damian Lillard out in Portland? I haven't watched him. I haven't gotten a chance to watch him, even in college at Weber State, because Weber State, I guess it is. So who watches Weber State games if you're not a Weber State fan? They didn't make the tournament or anything, but obviously the scouts knew what they were doing when they saw this guy, and they drafted him in the 6th overall pick, and he's really making a name for himself in Portland. It's about time they had a good point guard. So yeah, what did we learn this week? The 3 things we learned: the Lakers. We go back to the Lakers. Needed a better head coach, and I say this because the Lakers have yet to play their first game under Mike D'Antoni. So we knew that they needed to make a change. They needed to make a change because Mike Brown's Princeton offense just was not getting it done. It wasn't working with the Lakers, and when Jim Buss looked at his team, and everybody looked at this Laker team and the roster that they have. There's no way that anybody could truthfully say that this roster should be 3-4 at this point in time. So Jim Buss agreed with the decision. He needed to find a way to maximize potential because there's so much potential on that team with Kobe and Howard, and Nash is out right now, but Nash when he comes back, and still have Pau Gasol, and all that talent should amount to something a lot more than a 3-4 record. Second thing we learned is that the Knicks are off to a hot start, but maybe not so fast. They've played some mediocre opponents, if you will. Obviously we played a good Heat team we have played quality teams, but the thing is with the Knicks is that watching that Heat game, the Heat really did not seem like they were even there with the whole Hurricane Sandy aftermath. Even though they weren't affected, the Knicks came out and played with heart, and they got the job done. And lastly, the Spurs can still contend not only in the West, but in my opinion, for the title. That's right, they are 6-1 to start the year. Haven't really looked at who they've played, But 6-1 is impressive in the NBA. No matter who you've played, because it's a challenge game in, game out. Except for if you're playing the Pistons, which I somehow managed to keep out of this wrap up, even though with their 0-7 start, I had to mention that. Yeah, the Pistons might have a chance to rival the Charlotte Bobcats for worst season in history, in my opinion. But yeah, I think the Spurs, even though they're old and they don't have much youth, and they might get tired down the stretch of the season, which is something to keep an eye on. I think that they have a chance to still contend. So my champ and chump of the week, just like the football wrap-ups, and both of my champ and chump are coaches named Mike. So we start with the champ of the week, and it's Mike Woodson, coach of the New York Knicks. Sure, it's only been 4 games. Sure, it hasn't been against an elite opponent yet, although it was the Heat. But as I said, didn't really seem like the Heat were even trying when we blew them out by 20 or whatever it was. But Mike Woodson looks like he's finally not only getting his message across to the players, but the players are actually doing what he preaches. The defense, the good stealing, not turning the ball over too much. The things that Mike Woodson has preached since he became head coach last year when we fired Mike D'Antoni. It's finally beginning to show on the court. And besides the fact, I know there's always the debate of what's gonna happen when Amari Stoudemire comes back. How is Mike Woodson gonna balance that? But for now, the things that the Knicks are doing that are getting these wins have nothing to do with Amari not being there. It has everything to do with the Knicks finally doing what Mike Woodson has told them to do since day one when he got there. Play good defense, not turn the ball over, and make every possession a quality possession. My chump of the week, Mike Brown. Buddy, 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 buddy. I mean, I respect him, and this is just not trying to be offensive with this, but the fact of the matter is that there are tons of human beings, tons of sports fans out there, including me, that think that if you put that roster in one of our hands, I don't necessarily believe this because I don't want to discredit his coaching ability, but there's a lot of people out there, and I would even consider thinking that if you put the roster that the Lakers have in my hands or in anybody else's hands for 7 games, that we might be able to get as many, if not more, wins than he had in his 7 games this year with the Lakers at a 3-4 record. So yeah, chump of the week or whatever, chump of the season so far, and I don't know. It just wasn't the job for him. And what to watch for this week? I got 2 teams, and we've been mentioning them all throughout this wrap-up. The Lakers and the Knicks. 2 different reasons why we're watching them. The Lakers, we are watching how they will respond with Mike D'Antoni. Tonight they play at home against the Spurs in their first matchup with D'Antoni. And although it looks like a tough game, and it is a tough game, no matter what, it is a tough game, definitely. With the number 1 power ranked team right now. But these are the kind of teams that the Lakers have to be able to beat, or the Lakers were expected to beat before the season started. So I mean, we'll see how much of an effect Mike D'Antoni has. And also the other team, the Knicks, 4-0 this week, but we're not watching them to see about their coach or anything. What we're watching this week is the opponents. This week, the Knicks, the 2 main opponents we have are the San Antonio Spurs on Thursday and the Memphis Grizzlies on Friday. Those are 2 tough games. Spurs are 6-1. Memphis is 5-1. 2 tough Western Conference opponents on the road. So those 2 games will really tell how good the Knicks really are. So that's pretty much it for my wrap-up. I also forgot to tell you earlier in my schedule video that part of the schedule was also a Washington Huskies basketball and New York Knicks basketball game of the week preview. That'll be me selecting one game that each team plays per week and making a preview the night before of that game. For example, this week I've selected the Knicks playing the Spurs as the game of the week on Thursday, and for the Huskies basketball team, I selected their game at a neutral site against Seton Hall on Saturday. So that the Huskies basketball preview for that game will be coming out on Friday, and this Knicks versus Spurs preview will be coming out tomorrow. Now that's how it's going to work every single week. So I will see you guys later for my college basketball wrap-up of the opening weekend of the college basketball season. See you guys later.